Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected gaming. And in many cases it's a good thing and in many cases it's a bad thing. So let's um let's get right into it. In the background you're going to be seeing a Heroes of the Storm competitive match between two teams in a prized event, and I won't be commenting too much on this game as I'm going to be focusing primarily on talking about how the pandemic has affected gaming and in the areas that it's good. Which, as bad as the pandemic is, there are some things. There's irreparable damage that's come from the pandemic, but there are a few things that have been pretty good. So the number one is we've been seeing a lot more viewership. And that viewership is not just because people have more free time, it's also because there have been fewer physical sports going on, and many shows have stopped filming what they were normally going to be filming, and they took large breaks from filming. So what we find is that this ongoing internet gaming sensation has grown significantly by the short term because people are at home more, and by the long term because more people are looking for something entertaining to watch, which is great for gaming and for streamers in general. Twitch's viewership increased by 76% initially and up to 67% since then, which is nearly double what they normally increase per year. YouTube doubled in their live streaming viewership, and their overall viewership increased significantly, but they did not give their overall numbers of how their viewership increased. Facebook gaming increased by 184%, which is crazy. That's nearly triple what they previously saw. And that one is interesting in a few ways because what I find is a lot of the Facebook live streams and a lot of the Facebook gaming was from more casual gamers. And so if we're increasing the amount of viewership from casual gamers, that is bringing a whole new crowd of people into gaming that we normally didn't see, which is awesome. But I want to talk a little bit more on why this is such a huge thing for gaming in general, especially esports. For anyone that really was interested in esports, there have been several universities that have put less funding into physical sports in the last year and more funding into esports. And the more funding that goes into esports, the more all universities take it seriously. In fact, since 2020, or at least during the time of 2020 and 2021, there have been 18 new universities that have added scholarship programs for their esports groups and their esports teams that did not have scholarship programs before. That's 18 new universities that will give you money to play on their competitive teams. While Heroes of the Storm does not see a lot of that, that is awesome news for any player that wants to improve their gaming ability, as many skills from these games do transfer from one game to another. And this is a great opportunity for those that are just interested in going to a university, getting a scholarship, and they are good at video games. So this is a really cool opportunity, and they did this because they couldn't gain attention in physical sports throughout 2020. They didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last, so they did what they needed to do, which was adapt to the times, spend more time on esports rather than physical sports, spend more money on esports rather than physical sports. And this is huge for esports and video games, because now if video games can get universities to throw funding into their games, that's going to be great for every competitive game out there, especially the more popular ones or the ones that are growing in popularity. And it's such a cool opportunity for everyone who is wanting to get in that competitive environment, because this pandemic has kind of given us that odd opportunity. So with more schools looking at increasing funding for esports, it's huge. But not just that. There was a study done relatively recently where they asked a bunch of students, and students of all ages anyways, as well as some of the staff at these universities, and they said, what are your thoughts on esports as it compares to physical sports, and how serious do you consider it, and what do you consider the value of esports for students? And the original statement, I'm just going to summarize a lot of this, but the original time that they did this study was in 2016, and they did this study again nearing the end of 2020. And in the importance value, it's almost triple what the original scores were for this study in all aspects. Almost everyone of all ages are considering esports a much more viable alternative now than physical sports. And it makes me wonder how much it's going to spread further when there's an equal amount of funding at universities for esports and physical sports, because esports has a lot fewer injuries than physical sports, and there's a lot of a lesser problem overall. I mean, if you've watched the movie Concussion, you know that there's already a lot of controversies for American football, or I guess European rugby, that there are a lot of injuries that are creating permanent brain damage. In fact, I believe there was a study done that led to the movie Concussion that said 76% of front linemen, and I don't know much about football, so bear with me if that's not the exact position, but people in the front line, 76% of people ended up with permanent brain damage. That's crazy to see that currently that's the most popular sport in the United States and the most heavily funded in the universities. And it's creating permanent brain damage for 76% of the people in what is arguably the most popular role or position in American football. So what this makes me wonder is, with the increase of esports and the fact that it's a much less dangerous sport, I'm not going to say it's an if, I'm going to say it's a when esports will take over physical sports. And I would imagine it's not going to be for several decades. But I do think physical or esports will eventually take over physical sports for funding in universities. It may never take over in the actual overarching scheme of these sports and entertainment, but it will definitely gain a lot of popularity in universities, because universities is all about improving education, and to have something that's heavily funded that can increase the chance of brain injuries in a university just baffles me. So I definitely think that that's something that is going to make a huge difference overall. Now, there is one thing I did want to share, and I've talked a little bit about gaming disorder before. Gaming disorder is an addiction disorder similar to gambling disorders or eating disorders. It's something that if you do it too much, or if it overtakes your life, it becomes an actual disorder. If it doesn't overtake your life, it doesn't become a disorder. I do also want to share that there has been some research this year and during the pandemic that has shown a lot of people have stopped doing things productive and started gaming. Now, this could be because gaming is a great distraction from your life, and a lot of people's lives have been absolutely devastated because of the pandemic, between sickness and between their loss of work, that it has affected their life in multiple ways. So I understand that that's a huge portion of this, but I do still want to throw a word of caution out there for everyone. Now, word of caution is basically, make sure that gaming is not overtaking your life right now. Make sure that watching streams and YouTube videos are not overtaking your life. In the last time that I made a video about gaming disorder, I gave everyone a challenge that basically said, you need to be, if you're concerned at all, or if gaming is taking a huge portion of your day, I want you all to take a 1-week break to show yourself that you can. A 1-week break from gaming videos, from gaming streams, and from gaming. To going, if you don't have a lot going on in your life right now, to doing something more productive with your time. Learning a new skill. One of the skills that I'm relearning right now is there's a couple, I apologize for pausing. There's a couple programming languages that I've been wanting to kind of catch myself back up on that I haven't used in a long time. And there are a lot of tools out there to learn programming languages. There are a lot of apps out there to learn new languages, new programming languages, and a ton of skills. There are deals going on right now for a lot of these course websites where you can take these courses, you can gain certifications and different things, and they're all going on sale right now because of COVID and the pandemic. So if you find that gaming is something that is taking over a large portion of your day, and you're doing it because one, you might not have anything else to do, but also you don't know why you're logging in anymore. If you ever feel that, I definitely want you guys to take a break and start looking at those courses one more time. If you can take one full week off from the game, you can at least know that you can quit this whenever you want to quit it, and it's something that you won't ever have an issue with. And I know this could potentially hurt the viewership of my videos, because if everyone in my videos takes a break over the next 2 weeks, then I'm going to lose all my viewership for 2 weeks, which affects my income as well. But that's okay. I would rather you guys know for sure that you're in a healthy environment and you can control your health a little bit or work on your health a little bit, then I would have my viewers have to worry at all. So with that being said, I did just want to share that with everyone, that there is an uptick in gaming disorder, and I just want to also add some points on to avoid confusion about gaming disorder. Gaming disorder is not a disorder that you have because you're playing video games. Gaming disorder is a disorder similar to eating disorder, where if it is affecting your life and health, it becomes a disorder that needs to be treated. And eating itself is not a disorder, but if it gets to the point where it's affecting your health and your relationships, it becomes a disorder that needs to be treated. In the same way that gaming itself is not a disorder, but if it's getting so bad that it's affecting your relationships or your health, it is a disorder. It's hard to tell it with video games because it doesn't seem like it's affecting your health that much, but it definitely is. With the pandemic and us spending more time playing games and watching streams, I also want to throw a little bit more time into saying, I think everyone should also look at their health overall, even if they don't have gaming disorder. I think that taking more breaks is something that we need to be more conscious about. Working on your diet a little bit better is something that you should be more conscious about. I recently took my major in biology back when I was working on my bachelor's degree and got certified as a nutritionist, since I kind of wanted an update, since I hadn't worked in my bachelor's degree in years, and I wanted an update. So I got certified as a nutritionist, and it gave me another kind of look at how bad my diet has been since the pandemic. And I think it would be great for everyone to kind of get another look at your diet, get another look at your exercise habits, and I think everyone should start taking 15-minute breaks every few games or so, every few matches or so, just to kind of help yourself out a little bit. Gaming is something that is growing in popularity, and I think it's a great alternative for physical sports just because there's less risk of injury. But physical sports does have one major benefit over gaming, which is that it does have physical activity. It does, in many cases, make you healthier. So I think that if you are gaming a lot, you need to be spending some more time getting healthier physically and also healthier with your diet. There are a lot of programs out there that can help with both of those. There are apps that help with your diet, apps that help you with physical activity, and I would recommend checking out some of those. There are paid apps like Noom where you get yourself a diet coach that you can pay for, and they watch your diet, give you ideas. They hire nutritionists, and they also train their people to help with their organization. So it's a really cool program, but there are a lot of different versions of it. So you don't have to use Noom, and you don't have to pay any money. Just start thinking a little bit more critically about your diet, your sleep, as well as your physical activity. But with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all of you go to improve your health. Watch your gaming a little bit closer now that we've been in the pandemic, and I hope that you guys have gained a new understanding of esports and gained some confidence that esports will be growing ever since the pandemic. As awful as the pandemic is, this growth in esports will be great for universities and great for students of all demographics. One of the things that I love about esports and why I want to push it more than physical sports is because it has a wider audience. Students that want to practice as much as they want to practice at basketball, if they don't meet the physical requirements, they just will not ever be at that point where they can get a scholarship in basketball. And it's just not fair. I think those that are willing to practice should be given the opportunity for scholarships. And that's what I love about esports. It's a safer opportunity, a competitive opportunity, and it's also an opportunity that's more available to more people as long as you're willing to put in the effort. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you'd like to see more videos about either Heroes of the Storm or psychological topics explained simply, then feel free to click that subscribe and bell icon. Feel free to check out any other videos, and again, thank you guys so much.